The small-town bar sat nestled between two old buildings, a quiet refuge for the regulars who found comfort in the dim lights and the familiar hum of conversations. Every evening the same faces gathered after long days of work, sharing stories, drinks, and gossip. The air was thick with the scent of beer and the sound of laughter that often mixed with heated debates and the occasional burst of song from the jukebox. It was a place where everyone knew each other, and new faces were rare. That evening, a soldier walked into the bar, freshly returned from overseas. His military uniform stood out against the casual crowd. Some patrons glanced up before quickly looking away, whispering judgments. The bar owner, frowning, approached the soldier. "This place is for regulars. You're not welcome here," he said, gesturing at the crowd. "Your uniform disturbs the mood." The soldier froze, hurt by the rejection. For a moment the sting was worse than any wound he had suffered overseas. His uniform, a symbol of sacrifice, felt meaningless in that moment. His mind raced back to the battlefield, images of his brothers in arms, the noise of gunfire, and the losses he'd suffered. But despite the weight of those memories, he walked forward, steady and strong. At the bar he quietly ordered a whiskey. The bartender hesitated, but served him without a word. The whispers of disdain from the regulars lingered, but the soldier didn't react. He simply took a sip of his drink. Standing tall, the soldier's voice rang clear and firm as he spoke. "I'm paying for everyone's drinks tonight." A heavy silence settled over the room. The usual chatter and laughter that filled the bar disappeared, replaced by confused stares and hushed murmurs. The regulars looked at one another, unsure of how to react to the unexpected announcement. It wasn't the type of gesture they were used to, especially from someone they had just judged moments earlier. The soldier wasn't finished yet. He took a breath, steadying himself before speaking again, his voice softer but full of quiet strength. "I didn't come here to boast about the battles I've fought or the medals I've earned." His words held a weight that seemed to linger in the air. "I just wanted to sit here for a moment, to have a drink and feel normal again, like I'm part of the world that I've been fighting for." The soldier paused, his eyes scanning the room, meeting the gazes of the patrons who were still processing his words. He knew they were all wondering why he was doing this, why he'd chosen to pay for their drinks when he could have walked out, leaving the bar behind without saying another word. "But when you wear this uniform," he continued, his voice carrying the weight of years of sacrifice, "people don't see the person underneath it. They don't see the man with his own battles, his own struggles, and his own losses. They only see the uniform. And for me that uniform is a reminder of everything I've lost. The brothers I fought beside, the pieces of myself I'll never get back." His voice broke for a brief moment, the raw emotion creeping through, but he quickly regained his composure, his eyes now focused on the glass in his hand as if it held the answers to the pain he'd lived with for so long. The room was quiet, the regulars no longer whispering, now listening, truly listening. The soldier's words had reached them in a way they hadn't expected. They were no longer judging him for the uniform, but seeing the man behind it, the sacrifices, the scars, the weight of the things he carried that they could never understand. The silence stretched on, as the soldier's vulnerability hung in the air, connecting them all in a way nothing else had before. The soldier's voice trembled slightly, but he steadied himself. He didn't want pity, and he didn't want sympathy. He just wanted to share the truth. "You know," he went on, his voice softer now, "when you're out there, in a place where everything is uncertain, where life is fragile, everyone around you is a stranger. You can't tell who's friend, who's foe. You just trust the people next to you, your brothers and sisters, because they're the only ones who understand. They're the only ones who felt what you've felt. And you learn something about life out there. You learn that it doesn't matter where you're from, what you wear, or what people think of you. In the end, we're all just trying to survive, to make it home." He took a deep breath, looking around at the faces in the bar, faces that had once dismissed him, judged him for what he wore. "And right now, standing in this room, surrounded by strangers," he continued, "I see all of you as my brothers and sisters. I don't need your admiration, I don't need your applause. I don't need any special treatment. I just need your respect, because respect is all we've got in this world. It's the one thing we can give to each other that doesn't cost a thing, but it means everything." The soldier's words echoed through the room, and for the first time that night, the crowd was completely still. No one moved, no one spoke. They simply listened. The bartender, who had been silent this whole time, wiped his hands on his apron and looked down at the counter, his expression unreadable. A few regulars shifted uncomfortably in their seats. One man, who had been among the most vocal in his judgment earlier, cleared his throat. His face softened, his eyes now looking at the soldier with something different, something resembling understanding. "I never thought about it like that," the man muttered, his voice low. "You're right. I've been too quick to judge." One by one, others in the room started to nod. Some didn't say anything, but their expressions had changed. The skepticism was gone, replaced by something deeper, a realization that they had no idea what this soldier had been through. The pain, the sacrifices, the moments that could never be explained in words, let alone understood by those who had never walked a similar path. The older man who had mocked the soldier earlier was the first to stand up. He walked over to the soldier, his face now filled with regret. He extended a hand, his voice rough as he spoke. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said those things. You've got more courage than most of us here." The soldier's face softened, and without a word, he shook the man's hand. No more words were needed. The gesture spoke volumes. The room, once filled with tension, now felt warmer, softer, like a family slowly beginning to heal. And just like that, the mood in the bar shifted. What had started as an evening filled with judgment and hostility had now become a place of understanding. The soldier's words had broken down walls that none of them even knew were there. For the first time they weren't looking at a uniform, they were looking at a man who had fought, who had survived, and who simply wanted respect, just like anyone else. The bartender, finally finding his voice, called out, "All right, let's make a toast then, to respect, to understanding. And to the soldier who reminded us what really matters." The clink of glasses rang out, a sound of unity and newfound appreciation, and in that moment the soldier knew that his quiet act of kindness, the offer to buy everyone a drink, had done more than just ease the tension. It had opened hearts, one word at a time. As the soldier finished speaking, a heavy silence filled the room. The weight of his words hung in the air, thick with emotion. No one moved, no one dared to speak. The regulars sat frozen in their seats, as though trying to fully comprehend what had just been shared. It was as if time had slowed down, and all the judgments, all the assumptions that had clouded their thoughts just moments before, had vanished. And then, slowly the stillness was broken. The first to stand was the older man who had mocked the soldier earlier. His expression was soft, regretful. He approached the soldier, his footsteps hesitant but determined. Reaching out, he placed a hand on the soldier's shoulder. "I didn't understand," he said, his voice rough with emotion. "I shouldn't have judged you like that. You've been through more than I'll ever know, I'm sorry." The soldier looked at him, his eyes filled with understanding. Without a word, he nodded, accepting the apology. It was enough. The simple act of acknowledging the truth was all that mattered. One by one, others in the room began to follow suit. A man who had been sitting at the bar, quietly nursing his beer, walked up with a sheepish look on his face. "I didn't know," he said softly. "I've got a lot of respect for you, man, and I'm sorry for what I said." The soldier smiled faintly, giving him a nod of appreciation. Then something unexpected happened. The same man who had mocked him earlier, the one who had dismissed him with a cruel comment about being too full of himself, now raised his glass. "You're right, soldier. We don't know what you've been through. But I'll tell you what, welcome home." With that, he bought the soldier a drink. The soldier's eyes met his, surprised by the change in tone, but grateful all the same. The man raised his glass, and with a sincerity that had not been present before, he toasted, "To the soldier, and to all those who serve." The rest of the bar, moved by the sincerity of the moment, began to raise their glasses as well. The atmosphere in the room shifted in an instant, from one of tension to one of camaraderie and respect. Conversations that had once been whispers of judgment now became open discussions, about life, about struggles, about the real cost of war. By the end of the night, The soldier had become the center of attention, not out of pity, but out of genuine curiosity and admiration. The regulars, who had initially written him off, were now eager to hear his story, to understand the experiences that had shaped him into the person standing before them. He wasn't just a soldier anymore, he was a man who had given everything for a cause, and they wanted to learn from him. As the night drew to a close, the bar owner, who had stood by silently watching the transformation, finally walked up to the soldier. His expression had softened, and there was a hint of respect in his eyes that hadn't been there before. "You know," the owner said, "I can't remember the last time I saw this place change so fast. You've done something here tonight. Something real. I want to thank you for that." He paused for a moment, then added, "And whenever you come in here, I want you to take the seat by the fireplace. It's yours, anytime." The soldier nodded, a grateful smile tugging at the corner of his lips. It wasn't about the seat, or the drink, or the special treatment. It was about something more profound, a shift in perception, a bond formed between strangers who had become something more. As the soldier walked out of the bar that night, the sounds of laughter and conversation followed him out the door, but this time, it felt different. It wasn't just noise. It was the sound of people who had learned to respect each other, who had found understanding through one simple act of kindness. And as he stepped into the cool night air, he felt a small but powerful sense of peace. Maybe, just maybe, things had changed for the better. As the last drinks were served, and the night wound down, no one could have predicted the next twist in the story. One of the regulars, who had been quietly filming the entire interaction with his phone, uploaded the footage to a popular social media platform. It was a simple video, just the soldier speaking, his words filled with sincerity, his message of respect for others resonating deeply. But it didn't stay simple for long. Within hours the video had gone viral. People from all corners of the world began sharing it, commenting on the soldier's grace, strength, and humility. The video was shared across social media, picked up by news outlets, and even discussed on national television. It became a symbol, a reminder of the importance of respect and understanding, not just for soldiers, but for anyone who faced judgment or adversity. The comments poured in from all over the globe. "This is what it means to be human," one user wrote. "This soldier reminds us that we are all just people trying to make it through the day." Another commenter added, "Respect isn't earned by wearing a uniform, it's earned by showing kindness, humility, and understanding." The soldier, unaware of the viral sensation, received countless messages and invitations for interviews. News outlets reached out, eager to speak with him about his newfound fame, but the soldier, ever humble, declined every request. He wasn't interested in the spotlight, or in being celebrated. For him, the moment wasn't about personal recognition, it was about sharing a simple message that respect, kindness, and understanding should be at the core of everything we do. In the end, the video became a powerful reminder to millions that we all have the ability to change the world, one act of kindness at a time. A few weeks had passed since that unforgettable night, and the soldier's life had subtly yet profoundly changed. The town, once indifferent, or even hostile, had now embraced him. The video of his speech had gone viral, reaching far beyond the walls of that small bar, but it was here, back in the same space where his story had begun, that things felt most different. When the soldier stepped into the bar that evening, the atmosphere was a world apart from what it had been that night of rejection. The once skeptical regulars greeted him warmly, nodding in acknowledgement as he entered. Laughter filled the air, but it wasn't the same chatter of judgment. This time it was laughter shared among equals. The bar owner, now with a smile on his face, greeted the soldier with a handshake and a proud glance toward the wall, where a new sign had been hung, "Heroes welcome here." The soldier's heart swelled with a quiet sense of pride, but also with gratitude. As he made his way to the bar, the bartender handed him an envelope. The soldier frowned, unsure of what to expect, but opened it cautiously. Inside, there was a letter, and as he read it, the weight of the words hit him. The bar owner, moved by the soldier's speech, had arranged for the soldier to be publicly honored by the town in recognition of his courage and service. It wasn't just a ceremony, it was a symbol of everything that had changed. The town, now seeing him for who he truly was offering their respect in the most profound way possible. A lump formed in the soldier's throat. He wasn't one for attention, never had been, but the thought that his message had reached so many had sparked a change in this very community was overwhelming. He took the letter, folded it carefully, and raised his glass to the crowd. "Thank you," he said softly, his voice thick with emotion. "Thank you for showing me what it means to be part of a community. Tonight, I'm not a soldier, I'm just a man, sitting with people who understand what it means to respect each other. And that's more than I could ever ask for." The room fell quiet for a moment, and then the clink of glasses echoed in the air. People raised their drinks in unison, toasting not just to the soldier's service, but to the message he had shared. Respect, understanding, and kindness were powerful enough to change hearts and minds, even in the most unlikely of places. As the soldier sat back down, surrounded by those who had once judged him, he knew that the video and his message had done more than just make a point. They had opened doors to unity, reminding everyone that sometimes all it takes is a single act of truth to transform a community. The story ended with a final powerful message, one that resonated far beyond the walls of that bar. Respect, understanding, and kindness could turn even the most hostile environment into one of unity, and sometimes it only takes one moment of truth to change everything. The soldier's journey from rejection to becoming a symbol of respect and unity is a poignant reminder that we often don't understand the full story behind someone's appearance. What the townspeople initially saw as a uniform and a stranger, they soon realized was the face of sacrifice, resilience, and hope. His simple act of standing up, speaking his truth, and choosing kindness over conflict had the power to change not just one person's perception, but an entire community's. This story leaves us with a powerful lesson: kindness has the ability to transform lives, and in turn, communities. We may face obstacles, misunderstandings, and judgments in our lives, but the soldier showed us that through respect and understanding, hearts can be softened and perspectives can shift. No matter how deep the divide, people are capable of change when given the opportunity to listen to one another, to truly see one another, and to offer compassion. The soldier's story is a testament to the fact that all it takes is one moment of vulnerability, one simple act of respect, to bridge gaps and bring people together. His journey was more than just about military service, it was about humanity, unity, and the power of kindness to change the world. If you've enjoyed this story and the powerful message it carries, don't forget to show your support. Please hit that like button, drop a comment below to let us know what you think, and share this video with anyone who could use a reminder of the power of kindness and respect. Subscribe to stay updated with more heartwarming stories like this one. Your support means the world, and together we can keep spreading messages of unity and understanding. Thank you for being part of this journey.